you who are just joining us, welcome to the Influencers Journey Show. Once again, my name is Taria Hodge, and our topic today is how to create a winning social media strategy for 2023. And I think this is a perfect time of the year to have this conversation. I don't want to wait until January to have the conversation because you know what? January might be too late for you to start finding your strategy. You need to start taking a look at your strategy from now. So the first thing that I want to take a minute to discuss is some of the trends to follow that's coming up in 2023. And so, one of the things that I am charged with as a social media strategist is to always make sure that I keep my finger on the pulse of what is happening inside of the marketplace. And so, this led me to talk about the top five things that, as an entrepreneur, a coach, or a consultant, you have your business, you're positioning on social media, what you should be paying attention to and implementing in your business. So, one of the first things that I want to take a minute to talk about is authenticity. Now, I have been saying this because this is the thing that I have noticed over the years as more and more brands are entering into the marketplace and taking advantage of platforms out there for social media, whether it be Facebook, whether it be Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever you are positioning, Instagram, TikTok, like there are hundreds of social media platforms out there. And the determining factor for that is how you show up. And this is one of the things that, we always say here. If you've ever joined us on one of our trainings, one of the things that we make, we do make it a point to share with you that no doubt you are not going to be the only person that does what you do in your business. But what is going to be the deciding factor of your clients working with you versus working with your competitors or working with someone else who provides similar services than you do? And it comes down to your unique, your authentic self, your unique way of doing business. And one of the things that we always say is that people must buy you before they purchase your product or your service. And this definitely carries over onto social media. So, one of the things that I've been paying attention to is how people show up on social media. So it's becoming less and less of social media being that perfect platform where imagery has to be perfect, branding has to be perfect. Audiences are looking for real people. They're looking for authentic conversations. And we see platforms such as TikTok and Instagram, Reels, those things showcase that. So audiences are looking for, once again, the real. They don't really so much want to see polished people all the time or a polished brand and things that they can't relate to. They want to know that the people that they're working with, the brands that they decide to engage and spend money with, those brands have real people, authentic people who understand not only their pain points, but they also understand their transformation that they do desire. They're looking for the people that say, I get it. I have been on that journey. I have experienced those things that you are now challenged with. And I definitely have a way to show you where you need to or how you need to get to where you want to go. So that's the first thing. When you take a look at your social media and your social media strategy, are you using strategies or developing content that would allow you to show up as your real and your authentic self? And now the second thing, like I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, is is how much more social commerce is happening on social media. Now, I know when we talk about social commerce, one of the things that you might probably be saying is that, Taria, social commerce is not new. we've always had things like ads and pay for ads. And I'm a believer that ads work. And the reason why ads work is because ads give you the opportunity to position in front of your ideal client. So you can get very specific in your targeting when it comes to your ads. But like I mentioned, one of the things that I noticed that Instagram is doing really well, and the algorithm, there goes that A word again, is really serving, is that not only are they positioning content by other influencers that I like, they have gotten really great at positioning ads. And so I've noticed that a lot more influencers out there, are putting, digital products out there. Even if it's not digital products and they have things for sale, I'm seeing more and more commerce happening on the Instagram platform. And this is really cool because one of the things I know I found myself doing is when I see an ad that interests me, I'm heading right over to that influencer's page and I'm checking out the content that they have positioned on the platform to see, like, oh, okay, what is this company really all about? What does this brand signify? How else can, or what more can I learn about this brand? So definitely one of the things that I'm bringing to the point here is that take a look at it. Now you don't have to leave the actual social platform. So you're actually being able to be positioned a product or a service, and then you're able to stay right there on that platform without leaving Instagram. Instagram is just the platform that I'm using in this example. You don't have to leave the platform to go and check out that company. You could just click the button, go right to their page, find out more information about them before you go ahead and make that in-app purchase. So that's another trend that's going to be huge, and you're going to be seeing a lot more of that coming up in 2023 and more years to come. The third thing that I want to bring attention to is social listening. Oh my gosh. And this is one of my favorites, social listening and brand involvement. So, one of the things that I talk about all the time is just how engaged you are on social media. Now, before you get excited and you start to say, Taria, oh my gosh, social media seems to be a lot of work and I don't have the time to go ahead and do all of these things on social media. One of the things that I'm going to encourage you to do is to include the time to do these things when you build out your social media plan. So, what day of the week and what time of day that you're going to just spend some time actively listening on social media. And when I talk about social listening, this is exactly what I mean. Do you, once again, know the conversations that your divine clients are having? So, are you in the same spaces that they are? Are you able to tell the things that they're struggling with, the challenges? Like I said, I call it the 2 a.m. problem. Those things that either keep them up at night or the things that wake them up in the middle of the night that they need to solve. And so, are you being just a consumer of content, meaning that you go on social networks and what you do outside of posting your stuff is that you just consume content, or are you positioning yourself to be a resource? So, are you contributing to the conversation? So, are you showing up in those places and spaces that your audience is at, your divine clients are, and you're contributing to the conversation? So, social listening and brand involvement is another huge thing that we are seeing occurring and happening more in the marketplace. Now, the fourth thing that, or the fourth trend that I want to talk about is being able to create an experience while you are on social media. And I have to say, I absolutely love this one. So I think it was this past week. I had the opportunity to write an article, and the premise or the basis of the article is that you should have an online community. So if you are, once again, a coach or a consultant, one of the things that I strongly encourage you to do, if you have not done this already, is build a community, have a place where your tribe can connect with you. And this is so important because this is where you get a chance to create that experience for your tribe members or even for your clients. You could have a community like we do. We have a community for our tribe, which is our super achievers, and then we also have a community for our clients. Now, one of the things that we take a look at when we formed our communities, it's number one, a place for us to get to learn more about our tribe members. And some of our tribe members, we feel like, oh my gosh, we've met them in person. We felt like we've sat down with them. You know, we know a lot, not just about them, but sometimes their family and all of the things that they're going through. It's really cool. So, how do you create that experience? Okay, for your community members, and also start to think, when you create your community, what are some of the things that you will offer in your community that the people inside of your community, your tribe, they would get and other peoples won't get. So what would be the unique way that you serve in your community, the things that you will put in there, the content that you put in there that wouldn't otherwise be found any place else, the outside of the community. And so that's what I'm talking about when I say create an experience for your audience by using social networks. And then another point that I would like to make about this is also take a look at your communities as well as a way of providing that additional step with customer service. And I know this is a huge one, and this is a trend that I've been following and implementing actually for quite some time now, is taking a look at having a community and building a community around my products and services. So specifically having a community for people who are clients, paid clients who are working with us, and how do we use that community to serve them on a regular and consistent basis. And when I tell you, there's leverage there because it keeps you from having to do a whole lot of one-on-one things. You know, like I said, if you get a question more than 3 times, then that's content you should create. So here's a tip for you. If you have clients that are asking the same questions and you have a community, maybe you want to jump in that community and write a post or do a video that will address that thing. So making sure that you are elevating your experience on social media, and one of the best ways to do that is to create community. And then the fifth trend that I'm going to talk about, and this is probably the most important thing that I'm going to share with you when it comes to taking a look at trends on social media for now and then going forward, is remembering to take your conversations offline. So, one of the big things that I have learned, and I say this all the time, don't build your business on borrowed land. So, what do I mean by that? No matter how great we think a social media platform is, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, like I said, there are thousands of social media networks out there. One of the things we must all remember is that we do not own the social media networks. So if anything changes today or tomorrow, will your business still be able to survive? And what do I mean by this? Are you making sure that you have a process, you have a strategy to get your people from social media onto your email list? Because you know your email list is that thing that you own, onto your email list, and then you could communicate in other ways, in other frequencies with your audience as well. So don't build your business on borrowed land. Don't rely solely on social media for your marketing, making sure that you're building your list and you're incorporating an email strategy works. Now, I say this, and I would be remiss if I didn't talk about an experience that I had over the past couple of weeks. There was a company, or there is a company that I am currently engaged with. And when I tell you, I got super excited when I saw their process and I saw their strategy in how they're doing their social media. So one of the things that I found that they've done really well is how quickly we went from connecting on social media to engaging in an offline strategy, meaning or offline conversation, meaning they reaching out to me via email, text message, and then also via phone call. So don't, get hung up on, oh my gosh, am I talking to people that I don't know? As long as you have people who are expressing, that interest in your services and what it is that you do, don't be afraid, to have a conversation, to learn more about them, and to have more ways that you could serve them. So, once again, the last thing and probably the most important thing that I have covered, in the top 5 trends is to make sure that you are taking your conversations offline. Okay. And so if any of this is resonating with you, just go ahead, drop a comment. Let me know if you have questions. Go ahead and let me know. And then I will make sure that we come back and we answer those questions. Okay. Now, the second thing that I want to talk about, and this is a huge one, and remember, we're talking about creating a winning strategy for 2023. So, another big question that we get is what to consider before you join a new social media platform. And so, like I said, there are so many social media platforms, out there, and it seems to me like every time I spin around, there's a new one entering into the marketplace. And it's almost always so tempting to want to jump on every single social media platform. So before you do, I'm going to encourage you to pause. And then I want you to ask yourself 3 questions. And the first question that I would like for you to ask yourself is, my audience there? So before you join a new social media platform, ask yourself the question, is my audience there? Is this where I can find my tribe of people? Is this where my divine clients are hanging out? And so in order for you to know that, one of the things that you have to know is exactly who are your divine clients. Okay? And part of knowing who your divine clients are is, where do they spend their time? And if you could answer yes to that question, my divine client is found on this social media network, and not just on the network, what part of the network? Because once again, there are so many different facets to different social media platforms. But if you can say yes, my divine clients are definitely here on this platform, then that's one check for that platform. The second question I would like for you to ask yourself is, do I have the capacity for this? And this is a huge question. Do you have what it takes to produce on this social media platform, and not just produce, but produce consistently? And like I said, I know with the emergence of new platforms, excitement always takes over. And we could easily become sucked in, especially when we have other peers and other colleagues telling us that this is such an amazing and awesome social media platform. Here's the thing, do you know what it takes to produce content on the platform? And then, do you really have the consistency, the ability to produce consistently on the platform? Because the flip side to that is there's nothing worse than jumping on a platform, getting involved in the platform, and then you experience burnout. And then your content is lagging, you stop showing up on the platform, and then your audience is left hanging. Now, that's not a good look. And the reason why I could tell you that is because I want you to learn from my mistakes. So that's one of the things that I have learned early in my social media journeys, okay, is to make sure when you commit to a platform or you're on a platform that you have the capacity to produce on the platform, and not just produce and show up every now and again or once in a while, but to show up consistently, because once again, you will be creating that expectation from your audience. So if you are showing up 3 times a day, your audience is going to expect you to show up 3 times a day. So, do you have the capacity to do that? Do you have the capacity to produce, ton loads of videos? If it's video content, do you have the capacity to write articles? If it's article content that you are writing, so do you have the capacity? And then the third question that I think is the really big question is, how does this fit in to the way that you do business? So, one of the platforms that come to mind as I take a look at this is Clubhouse. And I am singling out Clubhouse because for me, it was very interesting when Clubhouse first came on the scene, and everyone was, seemed to be excited about Clubhouse. And the buzz was, oh my gosh, we need to be on Clubhouse. And I saw people abandoning other social media platforms and spending all of their time on Clubhouse. Once again, do you have the capacity? And then eventually the conversation shifted, or at least what I was hearing, like, oh my gosh, this is very time consuming. In order for me to make this work, I have to show up on here, not only in my content, but show up in rooms. I don't have time for this. And so the conversation started to shift going through that. But for me, the question was a bigger question. My question was, oh, what happens to the content that I am sharing on Clubhouse? So I was kind of a little bit disappointed that they did not have a feature on there that would allow us to record our content, because one of the things that I'm big on is that I'm big on creating evergreen content, which is timeless content, and then also content that we can use, or content that I can use to repurpose in my business. And so, is the content that you're creating on these platforms, is it content that's just specific for that platform? This is a question that you should consider. Or can you use this content in that form that it's created in other platforms as well? So, do you have a repurposing strategy? And so that's one of the things, like I said, I always ask myself the question when I take a look at social media platforms: how well am I going to be able to either use content that I have already created, which is a lighter lift. So if you've already created something, how easy is it for you to repurpose what you already have created? Or if you specifically create content for that platform, how easy is it for you to share that content with other platforms as well? So that's the third question you should be asking yourself. All right. And so now I am going to share with you, as we talk about your strategy as you take this time coming down towards the end of the year. I know, I can't believe it. 2022 is almost done. I think I saw a post the other day that says, what, 52 more days in the year, something like that. I'm not counting. But okay, what is it that you must include in your social media strategy for 2023? And so the first thing that I am going to encourage each of you to have or to do is define your goals. So, are you setting clear goals for your social media? So, what are the things that, as you take a look at your business goals for 2023, how can your social media help you support those business goals? And once again, it's not that you have business goals on one hand and then social media sits somewhere over here. The two should coexist or correlate to each other. So your social media goals should be a support mechanism to your overarching business goals. So what are your goals are for your 2023 social media? So making sure that you are setting clear goals. And then, secondly, you want to make sure that you are defining your audience and then also identifying your divine clients. So, as you make up your strategy, do you know exactly who you are targeting or who you are attracting? That's the word that I like to use. Who you are attracting on social media. So, do you know who your divine clients are? And when we talk about our divine clients, it goes a little bit deeper than talking just about their demographics, like where they live, their age range, how much money they make, how many kids that they have, things like that. When we talk about our divine clients, is those people that we have that emotional connection with. So as we put our messaging into the marketplace, do they see themselves in our messaging, and are they saying to themselves that you are the person that they want to work with? So being really, really clear on knowing who your divine clients are is also something that you should spend some time, if you have not done so already, in identifying and putting it into your 2023 strategy. Next, spend some time choosing the right social media channels. And I can't say this enough. Social media is not a one size fit all. And I alluded to this, I talked about this at the top of the broadcast. When we take a look at identifying social media channels, do you know what it takes to produce content on that specific channel? And do you have the capacity to do that? So, as you plan out your strategy, make sure that you are taking a realistic look at this as well. And then the biggest one for me, and this is where my heart lives, because this has been like one of my biggest challenges in my business, is having a clear content strategy. So, not only knowing what your messaging is, but how you are positioning yourself for success with your content. So, what do I mean by that? Do you have a clear strategy around content creation? So, how are you creating your content? So, whether it's videos, you're writing, how are you building a strategy around that? Are you blocking time off in your day to do that? How many hours per week are you dedicating in your business to do that? And then also, what goes into having a content strategy is how are you planning ahead for your content? So, one of the things that we do and we teach our clients in Content Plan for Profit is how you lay out your 12-month calendar with your conversation. So you are always ahead of knowing what message or what is it that you're going to share out there on social media. And I'm telling you, it makes a difference. Planning content, creating content is one of the biggest questions that I get from clients all the time. And they talk about how overwhelming it can be, and my answer to the question is you have to plan for it. You have to plan for consistency and build it into your schedule. So that's another thing. And then also, along with having a content strategy, do you have a system to distribute your content? So, what are some of the tools that you are going to now acquire, if you have not already, that would allow you to distribute your content? And then finally, when it comes to your strategy, make sure that you are establishing your metrics for success. So, what are some of the things that you are going to take a look at that will let you know that you are on track with your social media? So, are you measuring your sales? Are you measuring the growth of your audience? Are you measuring the growth of your community? Are you measuring the reach of your content? How people are interacting with your content, etc.? Are you generating leads? All of these things are metrics that you should be taking a look at as you plan your content strategy.